Good morning. I'm Robin Nagel. I am the director here at North Water Gallery, and we're so lucky because we have Mark Rea, the ceramicist, creator, inspired by the horseshoe crab, here today, making a delivery of some horseshoe crabs to set us up for the season. One of our hottest sellers, all very well fed and very well behaved.
And they don't smell anymore.
They don't, and actually we use that as part of
That's
our
a huge
sales
advantage if you're on the beach this time of the year.
Yeah, so there's that. So this is a nice opportunity for us, so we can ask you maybe a few questions and share it with people that come into North Water that admire your horseshoe crabs and adopt them, bring them home, decorate their walls, or have them sit on a table, whichever they decide. Something that we're asked quite often is, why horseshoe crabs?
I grew up sailing Nantucket Harbor. It was my first freedom as a teenager, was to get in a sailboat and go. And everywhere I went, these guys were underwater or they were on the beach, and they were just so iconic to my growing up, to my youth. And years later, on my 50th birthday of all days, I'd recently buried both my parents and become a father, and I was looking at all my life changes, and I found a little molt in a river in Rhode Island, and I put it in my kayak, and I thought, this one's different. And I took it home and started casting it, and it just sort of took on a life of its own. That year I made tiny little Christmas tree ornaments for my friends, and they all went a little nuts. So I started making lots of horseshoe crabs, and they thought I went a little nuts.
Now the horseshoe crab, the body and the tail, is this a mixture of a variety of clays, or is it just one?
In order to make this casting work, I actually blend a porcelain clay with a stoneware clay.
Okay.
In order to give it what we call the plasticity to come out of the mold intact.
Yep.
Very little of what I do is by the book. The first time I read about slip casting, after I'd been doing this for almost 8 years, everything the book told me I was doing wrong. So rather than throw it all out, I kept doing it.
Sure. The other thing a lot of people always compliment and comment on are the beautiful colors that we have in here. We have some with this beautiful glossy finish and some also with the matte finish. Something that I think is interesting is that all of the glazes you make yourself. Now, do you have a science background as far as your mixology skills?
I have a BFA in photography.
Okay.
But that was a time when we did a lot of film and a lot of chemistry, so I have sort of a process-oriented method.
Okay.
And that helps in glazing, because glazing is really the land of trial and error, especially error.
Mm-hmm.
But when you mix them yourself, you can eventually come up with colors that you can't buy, which originally when I did this, I used commercial glazes, and when the palette got too limited, I had to break out the chemicals and start playing myself.
Well, I think we're all happy that you have, because it's a beautiful variety.
Thanks. I have a ball making them.
Well, thank you very much. I think we all appreciate hearing a little bit more about you. Making your trek out to Martha's Vineyard from Worcester. I know the traffic might have been a little tough this morning, being the start of the season, so we really appreciate it, and we're looking forward to seeing some of the new designs, the glaze designs, pattern that you have brought with you today, so we'll share that. And let's see, do you have any questions for me?
No, this is my favorite place to go. More of my horseshoe crabs come here than anywhere else.
Well, thank you.
And when people, just so you know, if you try and write to me and buy them, you have to see this lady. I will only send you to her. So.
Well, thank you. All right, well, thank you so much.
Happy to be here.